Hello, hello, wonderful CVU members. Nicole Piper, your president, here to chat with you about our 25-26 tentative agreement contract highlights. Um, a beautiful executive board, our wonderful committee chairs there. Alrighty, I'm using the slides from last Thursday's last Thursday's meeting. I'll try to make sure that all the links are in the email that you found this recording in. I'm going to start with some background info about bargaining, going to talk about some wins for next year, a few compromises, going to answer some common questions, and also chat about what our next steps are. As a request, if you have any questions about anything we talk about here, please go ahead and put that in the Google Doc. The link should be shared with you. I get to those, check them, every day, a couple times a day. And when you do bring up questions about the contract, please just do us all a favor if you could kind of phrase it with I statements. That just helps keep the conversation moving in a productive manner. We want to hear your thoughts, and we want to make sure that we can improve for the future if we need to. Please also just contract questions in that document. If you have questions about anything else, your rep is there for you. A little bit of context on where we're coming from when we talk about bargaining. I always like to show this slide. Prior to 2018 in our first contract, our salary was 41% lower than state average, which still every time I see that is wild to me. We had no salary schedule, no tenure or permanent status, 215 work days, no notification date for the following year. Usually we found out over the summer if we had a job the next year or not. Punitive evaluation process, fewer sick days, no personal leave, no carryover of service years, no limits on live instruction, no limits on caseloads, no limits on meetings, no limits on in-person anything, and no grievance process. So we've come a really, really long way from back in the day. And let's go ahead and get rolling with our wins. So on the new CBA for the 25-26 school year, we were able to get a 2% increase to the salary schedule. Quick note, if you are in that master's column, that the master's column is just the BA plus $2,000, $2,000, I hope I'm right on that. The master's column doesn't go up exactly 2%. It's just an addition on top of the BA column. A huge win that we're really, really proud of is we were able to get up to 3 years of service credit to teachers who were hired prior to 2018. So for those of you who don't know, anyone who was hired at CAVA before 2018 got no years of service credit, no matter how many years they had worked in schools prior. New hires after 2018 were able to get 3 years service credit, but those folks hired before were not. So this is a huge deal, not just for those people it impacts, obviously, but it's a big deal for all of us because now we can start fighting for more years of service credit for everybody, which is super exciting. We were able to get a consistent healthcare premium deductions across our paychecks. So for those of you who have been with CAVA for a little bit and get your healthcare here, you know that over the summer, our paychecks, that obviously we don't get paychecks over the summer, so healthcare couldn't be taken out. So when we would get back to school after summer, those paychecks always had a higher amount of healthcare deducted from them. And it was just really frustrating because you couldn't tell if your paycheck was accurate. Having inconsistent paychecks, just lame in general. So this is exciting. It's going to be a little bit more than we're used to out of each of our paychecks, but it's going to be consistent, which is good. We got a daily rate of pay formula formalized and accepted. And also great news, a $6,000 bonus for those who worked both last year and this year, or a $3,000 bonus for folks who were hired this year. Some of you may be asking yourselves, is a 2% raise on the salary schedule good? Is that a good thing? Do we like that? This year, the COLA, or the cost of living increase, which is how much more the state government is paying CAVA than last year, is 2.43%. So we're a little bit under that. But not every year is going to be a high percent raise year. This year, our priority was really getting those years of service for people hired prior to 2018, since they did not have any before. A little bit about the off-schedule bonus that I mentioned, $6,000 for folks who worked last year, this year, $3,000 for folks hired this year. We were not expecting to have a bonus, especially not one of this size this year. But because of the many paycheck issues and the stress of switching over to ADP, we feel like this is warranted for this year. Generally, bonuses are not our goal. We really want to get as much money as possible on the salary schedule to make that happen. We just felt like for this year, considering the current situation, this seemed like a fair deal. One big note, even though we have no more big healthcare deductions for paychecks in August and September, now we have consistent monthly deductions. Just a heads up, our paycheck is going to have a slightly higher healthcare deduction than before, but it's going to be consistent, which is salary schedule. Feel free to pause and find yourself. I know that's what I always do whenever I see a new salary schedule. Hunt yourself down there. We also got some wins in the union rights article. So if we are at in-person meetings and CVEU time gets placed at the end of the day twice, we get to pick our time the next meeting, which is good. We got some guaranteed virtual meeting time, which is a big deal. Just having consistent times during the workday that we can meet all together is super important for us. So we have at the beginning, middle, and end of the year. And if a tentative CBA is reached at any time during the year, we are allowed to have work time for that, time during the workday for that, which is good. We also were able to secure 100% president release time, which is critical for the health of our organization. And CAVA is going to continue making the same contribution towards that as they did toward our previous release time. So not as exciting as compensation, but really good, solid things there that make sure that we can continue to do the good work. Some healthcare wins. We secured language from our healthcare change MOU that we worked on in November. We got that into the CBA. There was also a change that Anthem's changing their 3,200 plan to a 3,300 plan. So anybody who is impacted by that will get $100 contributed to their HSA account to make up for that change. So if you're one of those people, make sure you're talking to HR about that. Our healthcare committee is also hard at work for the future. We know there's been a lot of thoughts and ideas about healthcare. If you want to help out with that, please come join the healthcare committee. It's a lot of work, but it's really important work, and it's something that we have to plan for because it takes a lot of research. Some caseload wins. Our school psychs now have a limit on the number of assessments that they have to complete, which is great. We got speech pathologists down from 55 to 1 to 50 to 1, which is modest, but it's a good step in the right direction. This one for my TK8 GE folks, I hope this is good news. I keep saying this is mostly for GE, but I guess this is good for everybody. New students now starting every other week instead of every single week. So instead of getting students consistently on a rolling basis, you'll know this, hey, this is my on week, this is my off week, and you'll be able to actually plan and take a breath when you get new students, which is really exciting. And then for our mod severe SPED, we were able to get an extra 4 hours of progress report time each semester. It wasn't the caseload win we were hoping for. SPED stuff is very challenging to bargain around, but we wanted to make sure that we got something in there for those folks as we continue to move, toward the future, trying to get even bigger wins there. Some more caseload wins, some kind of significant changes for high school. This is high school CTE and high school PE. If you do not teach high school, you might be like, what are you talking about? Just high school peeps, very specific groups here. CTE will no longer have a homeroom assignment. They will only be teaching their content classes. They will get $500 per semester for every course or prep over 4 and no more than 6 without approval. Their content caseload is going up to 225 to 1, and they will be doing 15 hours of live instruction each week, but with no homeroom, which is a huge win for them. And then for PE, kind of going the other direction, 10 hours of live instruction each week, homeroom caseload of 35 students, not to exceed 40, and keeping their content the same. This is really great for PE. They really didn't need that full 13.5 hours. So getting them to a more reasonable schedule is a big one. We have a few compromises that we had to make. So bargaining is always a compromise. It is always a back and forth. It's always a negotiation. So we did go in wanting to get rid of the 95% attendance requirement for overage pay. We were not able to get that this time. Basically, we just don't understand how or why attendance is tied to overages. Obviously, we spend sometimes way more time on students who aren't attending. So we're going to keep fighting for that one. We were hoping for some general homeroom caseload reductions for more groups. CAVA cited lack of funding, teacher shortage. We were willing to make a compromise this year in exchange for movement in other places. We're really going to have to keep fighting for some better caseloads for our specialized groups, SPED, psychs, ELD, speech. Really want to get those caseloads into a zone where both our educators can do what they need to do and students get the attention that they need. We also want to work on getting more stability in student assignments, especially for kids with IEPs. We tried that this round and it was new language and it didn't quite work out, but we might try it in a different article. One other compromise you may have noticed is that we weren't able to get 12-month pay, and everybody filled out a survey about that earlier this year. Thank you so much for that, by the way. I wanted to give you the feedback on that survey. 516 members responded. 79% of people said they prefer 12-month pay. So we know this is something that clearly there's a majority on, and then 37% of people consider it a high priority issue. So we know it's something we want to keep talking about. The reason we dropped it this year is because I think we can probably all agree we've had a lot of recent paycheck changes already, and we didn't really feel comfortable with such a huge change when we've just had so many. Frankly, we also kind of have low trust in CAVA and ADP right now to implement this smoothly. If CAVA is telling us that would be challenging, we believe them. We believe that it would be challenging for them and that we didn't want more upset. They also CAVA just consistently prefers our current pay schedule. So if we're going to fight it, it's going to be some more work. The good news is that with our current pay, we get our money sooner in the school year, right? So it's not sitting in CAVA's bank account, it's sitting in your bank account. We now have these consistent healthcare deductions, so we have consistent paychecks, and you can always use a summer saver plan to manage your summer expenses. So it's not a horrible thing, but it is something that we're going to have to look at again in the future. Some common questions that we get when we talk about new contract is you may be wondering, why did the bargaining team agree to blank thing for my grade level or department? Please ask that question if you're wondering that. Let's talk about it. The bargaining team spends many, many hours talking, debating, discussing, and we're happy to talk about what the thought process is there. You may be asking yourself also, why did we agree to this salary? And I hope I explained that okay earlier, but if you still have questions, I'm happy to chat about it. And you may also be thinking, I wish the contract was better. I think it could be better. Step one, please ask questions. Whatever you're thinking, I would love to hear it so we can talk it through, talk about the reasoning or the logic behind things or the long-term, short-term goals, whatever. If you still feel like after those conversations that you're just not liking the way this contract came out, you can always vote no on ratification. Obviously, we hope that you don't. The bargaining team believes that this is a fair deal for this year. And then, of course, if you're still feeling like you're not loving this, come join the fight. That's how we get stuff done around here. It's all of us looking at things and going, I think this could be better, and pooling our collective talents and skills and resources to make things better for everybody. So I hope you won't just vote no if you choose to. I hope you also come help us make it better. Next steps, we're going to harness this power that we've been building for the last couple years. We're going to vote to ratify, then the school boards have to approve in June. New contract goes into effect at the beginning of next school year, which is a huge win for us. I think this is the first time we've ever had a contract before the new school year, which is really exciting. So we're sticking to this timeline pretty tight so that we can get started next year with our new stuff. And we're going to be preparing to bargain for 26-27. So as much as I wish I could say the bargaining team gets a nice break, we are right back at it to get ready for 26-27. We're also in the background, when we're not bargaining, continuing to pursue legislative improvements. Any kind of laws or bills that come up that could impact our school, we are always working on making sure our voices are heard on those, and also building our power with actions. Next year, all articles are open. It's what we call a full reopener year. So next year might be a time for bold action. Next year could be a really big year for us, and we need everybody to fight for the contract we deserve. So keep your eyes out for actions, things to do to support our union in the next coming months. Also, just a quick shout out to the bargaining team, Jen Sims there, Scott Allen, Jamie Talley. They spend dozens and dozens of hours of work to get us these agreements. So if you see any of them, please tell them how much their time and effort is appreciated. They are awesome. Alrighty, friends, timeline like I alluded to earlier, we had our first meeting to present this last week on 5/15. Voting is going to open 5:20 at 5 p.m. and voting is going to close 5:27. So a full week to look at all of the TAs, ask any questions, read through the question doc, watch this recording, anything you need to do to feel comfortable with your vote. I will make sure you have the links to the tentative agreement highlights and also to the actual tentative agreements so you can look at the actual language. Just a reminder that every single voice matters. You may be like, oh, I don't really need to vote because this looks good to me and like it's fine. I don't really have anything to add to this. Please do vote. Please vote. Every action that we do, even a small thing like voting on this, shows our engagement. It shows how many people are active in our union. It shows how powerful we are. So please make sure to vote when you get your ballot, which you may have gotten with this recording, possibly. So go vote right now. Alrighty, my friends, thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, reach out to your rep, use that question doc. We are here for you to chat about anything you want to chat about contract-wise or otherwise. I hope you have an amazing day and I will see you around. Bye.